All right, let's get a move on. And ET Now's on the go. Well, we're back with season 2, and this time we're kicking off the journey with engineering conglomerate Thermax. This is at their water solution plant in Pune with the MD and CEO Ashish Bhandari talking about the old and the new Thermax with a focus on green solutions. He also elaborated the unique strengths or the moats that Thermax leverages across industries. Take a look at this.
Thank you, Mr. Bhandari, for having ET now.
Good morning, Nikunj. Welcome to Thermax.
Thank you very much. When I entered into the factory premise, there was a big board which essentially was also a very proud board which says that this power plant is fueled by solar energy.
Yes.
Which means everything here is actually green. The spirit is green, the power is green, and the vertical which you're addressing is also green.
Completely true. Yeah, that is the exciting part. And in some ways, that's the transition that we are talking about at Thermax, which is to build a company that is a partner to our customers as our customers go through energy transition, which means we need to be able to develop solutions that are part of this and also imbibe this ourselves as well. And all our new buildings are good examples of that. And what we are trying to do for the world and for India, we first have to show we can do it for ourselves.
So I'll start with the energy space.
Sure.
The street is divided as to where the future of energy is. You have Tata Power, who's officially gone on record and has said that we will not invest in thermal energy. But you've got the likes of NTPC and other utilities which continue to invest into energy. So for Thermax, which is a solution provider, you need to be future ready. Which way are you leaning? The thermal way or the green way?
Look, I don't think it is a question of one or the other. For a country like India, energy availability and sustainability have to go hand in hand. If power needs are growing at 8 to 10%, which is the expected forecast, we need to make sure that we have lot of new energy sources from renewable energy, hydrogen, a variety of new capabilities coming in. But simultaneously, we need to think about how do you make traditional thermal power plants cleaner burning, better. Yeah, which means if there are technologies around making thermal energy cleaner, more efficient, carbon capture, coal gasification, ultra supercritical power plants, I think it is important that Indian companies work on these elements as well because they are part of an energy transition journey. And the Prime Minister also has spoken about cutting down our energy intensity. So making coal cleaner reduces energy intensity, makes coal better and more efficient. And for Thermax, we want to play in all solutions that work towards energy transition.
Every company follows a life cycle. Even products, they follow a life cycle. Can I say the green energy business for Thermax is in its young stage? And the thermal energy business is perhaps in a mature stage, which means that high growth will not come there. And for the young business, which is the green energy business, the growth is going to be high.
Look, largely correct. I do think the green energy business is in its infancy. Lot of these newer spaces are barely, they're like not even crawling. Yeah, they've just been born. They have a while to go before they get up and run. Thermal is a 200-plus-year-old technology, very well understood. That said, the only caveat I would give is that India, because of its energy shortage, is going to go through a wave where thermal will come back for maybe one more wave. Yeah, and the next 3-4 years, there'll be a lot of new thermal power projects also coming in. But if I take a 10-year look, what you're saying makes complete sense.
So, would you be investing less in thermal going forward then?
In terms of our investment, where our energy is going, where our capex is going, where our R&D is going, our partnerships are going, they are all on the new energy side for the most part. Yeah, there's some parts where we continue to work on the thermal side, and those are established technologies that we have had for a long time. But our focus is entirely, in terms of our investments, is on the newer energy sides.
Can I say this entire pivot at Thermax has been a conscious move but has got accelerated after COVID, because that's the time there were PLI schemes which came in, China plus one rhetoric became strong. So has the pivot been largely accelerated after COVID?
Very much so. And I would actually point out a very specific meeting that we had, which was 2021. It was right after COVID. And that was a period where we could step back and not talk about the immediate quarter, because those were all bad quarters. There was nothing going on. So we took a period which was 2030, a little further away from our day-to-day stuff. And we looked at that period to talk about what the world would be and what can Thermax do to succeed in that world. And that world was very clear that it was all around many of the new capabilities we have to grow.
Now, for any company to stay young and to go through ups and downs and peaks and troughs of market dynamics, it has to have a distinctive moat.
Yes.
What are you doing at Thermax to really expand your moat so that in a competitive environment you stand out?
Okay. There are three particular skills to me that seems like that Thermax is good at. Yeah. First, Thermax's access to customers across the industrial spectrum of India. When I joined Thermax nearly 5 years ago, I was amazed that the company touches everything from food and beverage, pharma, chemicals, right up to the other end of steel, refining, and some of our largest customers. The spectrum of these companies, the way Thermax touches with services, with products on the energy segment, is something that is unique. Yeah, and so our ability to touch those customers through distributors, our direct teams, is something that gives us a strength. The second is its history of developing products. Yeah, India historically has not had industrial companies outside of automotive build good products. Thermax has that know-how of building good products and is getting better and better. And you will see some of these examples out here where we want to build products that are good not just for India, but can stand the standard world over anywhere. And we're doing that through our exports and everything else that we do. The third in my mind is engineering and technology, which means we can take on difficult problems, and boilers is a good example. Some of what we do in boilers is unique anywhere in the world. We work on cool technologies around absorption chillers, etc., which is very unique technology which we have done decades to hone and perfect. So our ability to apply technology, put them into products and connect them with customers who we have access to, this trifecta in a way is our moat. Yeah, and this is the moat that we want to continue to spread around and add more and more products and capabilities as part of this.
But is the entire business which Thermax is in, it's engineering, it is built around IP and engineering capabilities. It has a lot of cyclicality, and that's how businesses move. There is a cycle in India when the private sector will start expanding.
Sure.
There's a cycle in India when government will start expanding.
Sure.
What are you doing to ensure that there is secularity in your growth and not cyclicality?
Completely. And I don't think for me, the excuse that you are dependent on cyclicality is not good. The kinds of products we do, of course, there will be a bit of cyclicality, but our customers are going through a change which in a way is a much longer term change. And so for us, investment in services, getting much deeper in services. We track services growth extremely closely, work very closely on services based initiatives, especially right now, because tomorrow when a cycle is going through a different bit, the services portfolio will continue.
When you say services, is it IT? Is it
no, product related, maintaining them, optimizing them, upgrades, retrofits, spare parts, long-term service contracts,
The AMCs, I would say.
AMCs, everything.
How large
Yeah.
is that for you as percentage of your total business?
So today, as a percentage of our overall business, it's 10%.
Okay.
Yeah, but it has the potential to grow much bigger. We are doing build, own, operate models, and some of those are fascinating because we are getting into contracts where we go to customers and say, I'll provide you steam, power, water, completely green for industrial purposes on a 10-year contract on a build, own, operate basis. So you pay on a per use basis. So this also brings a portfolio of business which will be steady. Yeah, completely. Investments in digital, international, that also reduces cyclicality. India may not be doing well, but the world overall, there'll be markets that will be doing well. So there's a lot that we can do to take this cyclicality out of the discussion. I really don't think of Thermax as a capital goods company. I think of ourselves as in clean water, clean air, clean energy company. And I think these three themes will continue for a few decades, at least in my my living life or my working life.
So can I say Thermax is a family-owned business but run by professionals? And that's a big pivot which has happened. I mean, it's happened a few decades ago.
I think that happened a few decades ago. I think for me coming in from GE that I came to Thermax, I haven't seen any difference in how professionally Thermax runs in every which way. It's a professional board, professional promoters, and in some ways a professional leadership team as well.
Without getting into specifics of numbers, for next 3 to 5 years, do you see enough or more visibility, or right now there are too many macro, headwinds which are difficult to encompass?
Look, there could always be headwinds here. We don't know what the future will bring about. But as I see what I see around us, I am hugely optimistic. And this plant is a good example. If you came in April,
What do we have here? What do we have here?
so what we have right now, it's a plant for water. So it makes solutions for everything that you need for cleaning water before it's used.
Okay.
And after you use it, how do you clean it back up before you release it back for disposal in any which way?
This is industrial usage.
Industrial and commercial, no residential, relatively less residential. Residential is a small part of what we do. We have no consumer. Yeah, so we do some residential, some commercial, largely industrial. Everything from desalination, tough to treat water, RO, ETP, waste treatment water. You're putting a chemical plant, you will have effluent. We'll treat that effluent. This has got solutions all around that. And technology is changing. Previously, India was not 75% of industrial water was let go. Yeah, we never monitored also. It was let go in our rivers, making our rivers dirty and all. That is not happening anymore. They are focused now, either the companies and the regulations are getting stronger. So the push is on making that water cleaner and come out better. And plants, and there is no water available. India has no water available. We can barely have water available for drinking. So the push on green capability, sustainable water recycling, that's just one theme. I don't see that theme going away for the next 3 to 5 years. Yeah, newer plants that are coming in, if anything, are needing more advanced capability. They are coming in saying, I want desalination solutions, I want more advanced stuff to treat water. Then you are going into food and beverage, cheeses, variety of different things. The technology ramp up is only going up. And I see that theme in many places. This plant we thought will be this busy a year from now. The ramp up has been much faster than what we expected. And to me, while people talk about private capex, on the ground, across industrial plants, I am seeing capex pick up. It may not be on the largest projects that are happening, but across segments and sectors, I am seeing private capex pick up. And wherever I am going to multiple geographies, this last quarter was a little soft after the elections, but our pipeline continues to be strong, and the demand for newer solutions, differentiated capabilities is higher than ever before.
So what you've lost in the last quarter, you think you will be able to make it up in coming quarters?
I do expect to make it up in coming quarters. And certainly as we monitor our pipeline and our orders, expectations, etc., it gives us some amount of bullishness. I don't think the kind of world we had 18 months ago where things were just flying, that's the world we are in. But good growth is there to be had with good solutions. and this plant is a great example of that.
Okay, so let me use a hurdle rate here just to establish a point for our viewers.
Sure.
India's nominal GDP is about 10 to 11%.
Yes.
Right? That's the growth which is for granted for next few years.
Nominal GDP,
nominal
real GDP being a little lesser.
6 to 7%.
6
right?
to 7%.
So the benchmark becomes that can Thermax continue to beat India's nominal GDP for 3 to 5 years on a CAGR basis? So I'm not getting into specifics, but directionally, is it possible?
Of course, it should be possible, yeah, and doing that should be the least of Thermax's expectations.
So what's the yardstick you set up when you measure growth? Is it competition? Is it India's GDP? Is it an aspirational turnover number? What's your benchmark?
It differs by business to business. There are businesses where we have good competitive information and capabilities. There we monitor market share and we monitor growth of overall segments. In places that we are doing something new, in fact, our growth rates are not even revenue and cost related. Yeah, they are more driven by capability and competency. In a particular year, have we developed a certain competency, certain capability? How many installations? Not worrying about market share or anything else. So it changes business to business. And Thermax right now, given the breadth that we have, there is no one yardstick that I use for looking at how are we doing across the spectrum. But in businesses that are traditional, we look at our profitability, return on equity, growth, everything compared to cash generation, compared to best in the industry, and general trends as well.
So the business in which you are currently investing in, where do you think they can be scaled up to? And what is the internal hurdle rate in terms of return on capital and return on equity?
So return on capital, again, returns differs by business to business. There are certain businesses like chemical where we think the return on equity expectations is somewhat less in terms of the risk that we see in those projects is less. Renewable in certain sectors, the return on equity expectations are slightly lesser. Many other plants like our water plant or our build own operate models that we get into, there the return on hurdle expectations are higher. Yeah, we expect closer to a 20% return on equity on some of those projects. I think in some ways, look, in many of the newer areas we are getting into, I think the question is not just around financial returns. You have to be able to take a 5-10 year look at certain segments and say this is capability that I need to develop. So you will go through a couple of quarters which are difficult, and we are having some of such businesses as well. And we have shown those in our recent quarterly results also, where you talked about our earnings overall from a percentage basis coming down a little bit.
I just want to establish for the benefit of our viewers that if you look at great companies, and Thermax is a great company, companies that tend to pivot. Reliance started as a textile company and now they've diversified into energy, telecom, retail. How many businesses Thermax will pivot into, and what would be that year or perhaps that time when the new business becomes much larger than the old business? Because that's the time margins go higher, return on capital goes higher. Shareholders will start looking at your company with a different lens. Traditionally I'm used to looking at Thermax means boiler. Now for us Thermax is water, air, energy.
See, if I take a look at when Thermax is not a conglomerate, yeah, and at least in the period that I am seeing, I don't think we will be a conglomerate. Our space is around energy and environment. That's the place that we play in, and industrial. Yeah, we're not going into consumer or anything. That space itself is so large that it gives us lot of opportunity to play and do new things. And